Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I took a break from BookTube for quite a while, mostly because I was focusing on my beauty channel for a little bit. I did a video every day over there in December, and then I took a break from that channel too because school got really hard. But basically I was forced into a really long, really nasty reading slump where I wasn't really reading anything for a prolonged period of time, and then what I did read, it felt kind of like pointless to make a video about. But I am back and I am reading, and I just wanted to catch you guys up with what I read in January and February of 2017, and then give you guys my loose TBR for March. So without further ado, let's jump in. So the first book I read in 2017 was Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. I have been working my way through the Percy Jackson series. This is the third one, and I have been enjoying them. I definitely think I would have liked these when I was younger a lot more, but this wasn't really my thing when I was younger. My brother read these and really liked them, but it was kind of like one of those things where if I liked it, he didn't, and if he liked it, I didn't, and so I just assumed I wasn't going to like these because Jacob did. But I have been reading them, and I have been really enjoying them. I didn't think mythology I have a little bit of a cold, so don't mind me. I didn't think mythology was my thing, but it has been really fun and just fast-paced and very interesting, and I get why people love these books so much. So that was the first book I read. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The second book I read was for my contemporary British authors class, and it was The Return of the Soldier by Rebecca West. This follows the story of Jenny and Kitty. They are two women living in England during World War I, and Jenny's cousin, Kitty's husband, returns from war because he is suffering from shell shock, which is basically PTSD, and has forgotten the last 15 years of his life and only remembers a time when he loved a different woman. So it was a really interesting story. It's really, really short. It went by so fast, and I really liked it. It definitely is kind of like a commentary on women's perception of war and women's perception of men and the masculine things thrust on men. But it was really interesting and very, I don't want to say fun because there's nothing fun about a book about shell shock, but I was expecting this to be really long and boring and and it really wasn't. It was actually a fun read, weirdly. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Next up, for my Other Americas Lit class, I read The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. I really liked this book. I wasn't sure I was going to. It is basically the story of Oscar Cabral and his family, and they are they're from the Dominican Republic, living in New Jersey, and it basically just follows Oscar's life and kind of tells you about his mother's life and his sister's life and the reign of Trujillo in the Dominican Republic and how it has affected his family. And it's just a really funny book. It doesn't sound like it would be funny, but our narrator, Junior, is just hilarious and really snarky, and it just makes this so much more fun to read. It definitely covers some really intense themes and events, but he's able to really lighten the mood, and I loved it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because it was such a fun read, and I don't know, I feel like I'm not going to enjoy the other books in this class quite as much as I enjoyed Oscar Wilde. Next up, I read Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. This book has been a book I have been lusting after since it came out a year ago, and I finally got my hands on it. I finally sat down to read it, and I loved it just as much as I thought I was going to. This is the story of 4 different characters living in Germany during World War II, and basically it's an untold war story about a ship, and I loved it so much. I really, really like historical fiction, and this just, I don't know, pulls at your heartstrings a lot, but it is such an enthralling story. I love this so much, and I've been telling everybody I know that they need to read this. My dad even might read this because he likes World War II stories, but I think this was beautifully written and just perfectly done. I just loved it so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's my favorite book I've read so far this year. Favorite book I've read in a while, actually, and I love it a lot. I really do. Next up, I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This is another book that I have been meaning to pick up for a while now. People love this book so much, this whole series, and I just wanted to see what all the hype was about. This is a high fantasy novel, if you hadn't heard, about angels and beasts, basically. I really, really enjoyed this. What was weird about it was, I think like the first 100 pages I found kind of hard to get into. I tried to pick it up before and couldn't really get into it, and all of a sudden I didn't even like recognize that I was enjoying it, but I was recognizing that I was flying through it. I would think like I'd be like 60 pages, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, wow, I've read like 150 pages in like a few hours. So it was just one of those books that I got so enthralled in and so like into that I didn't even realize, it didn't like register that I was enjoying it. Does that make sense? I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and that would mostly be because of the weird way I read it, like the way that it took me like 100 pages to really get into it, and then I didn't even recognize that I was into, like, I kept questioning whether or not I was enjoying it, but like I couldn't put it down. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I was obviously enjoying it, but it never like, it wasn't like Salt of the Sea where I like was aware that I loved this book. It was just kind of like, okay, I can't put this down. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This is really, really good. It's beautifully written, and I cannot wait to continue with the series. The next book I read was Mrs. Dalloway. I don't have it with me because I read it within a textbook, by Virginia Woolf. Yeah, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I liked it for like class reading, but it was never something that I would ever pick up on my own. And I just found it kind of confusing and just not wonderful. Like, I don't know, it kind of pissed me off in places. I didn't like the characters. The only character I liked was Septimus Smith, and you're not really supposed to like him all that much. I found them all to be quite annoying and like kind of stupid and frivolous. So it just wasn't my favorite novel. I get the point of it. Like, I understand what she was trying to do with it. I just didn't enjoy reading it at all. So 2 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in January and February was Translations by Brian Friel. This is a book that I had to read for my contemporary British authors class, and it basically is a play that follows Irish, like a little Irish schoolhouse in 1833. And it's like right around the time when England and Ireland have obviously never liked each other in history, like it's just never been a thing, and I don't know how to explain it. It basically is a play where some English, like, lieutenant, or soldiers, I guess, come in to rename the Irish towns and to make, like, anglicize them, basically, and how that affects everything, and it's a very interesting play that has a lot to do with language and British and Irish relations, for sure. What did I give this? I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy reading it. It went really fast for me. Yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because it did go pretty fast. It didn't stick with me. It was just one of those books that I read and was like, cool, we talked about it. I was like, alright, that's fine. Got it. So now I'm going to jump really quickly into the books that I am hoping to read in March. So I have realized that TBRs I really don't like because I am very much a mood reader, so I kind of just grab what I feel like grabbing at that moment. So I have the books that I know I'm going to have to read for class, and I have the books I know I'm going to grab next because I'm continuing with the series. I just don't know what else I'm going to be reading outside of those. So the first book is a book I have already finished, and that is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I will talk about this more in my March wrap-up, but this was a book that I wanted to read in March, and I did it. So, TBR wrap-up, yeah. And the book I'm currently reading is Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, the last book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I'll let you know more when I finish it and cover it in my wrap-up. And the third book I'm going to try to read that is not for school that I definitely want to get to is Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth, which is the 4th book in the Percy Jackson series. I just kind of want to start wrapping down this series so I can read other Rick Riordan stories. So yeah. And then the 3 books that I know I'm going to have to read for school are Toni Morrison's A Mercy, which covers, I believe it talks about, yes, it's in America, but it's about, actually I have no idea what this is about, I'm gonna be honest. She did go over this in class the other day, but my mind was on Spring Break, not Toni Morrison. But yeah, lots to do with slavery and things like that, so that should be interesting. And I've heard it's like multi-perspective and kind of confusing, but I love multi-perspective novels, so I am excited for this. Next up, we have Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. This is for my contemporary British authors class. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, but that's fine with me, so that should be fun. I really like this cover though. And the last book that I am definitely going to have to read in March is The Farming of Bones by Edwidge Danicat, and this is again for my other America's Lit class, and I think we're just going to be starting it in March and finishing it up in April, but I have absolutely no idea what this is about either. And I kind of like books, like not knowing what books are about before I read them, so that's fine with me. So that is it for my wrap-up / TBR for March. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I will see you guys again so soon. I really want to continue putting up videos about books regularly because I have really been enjoying reading lately. So have a great day. See you guys again soon. Bye!